You guys, welcome to another episode of Self Rebellion. My name is Zintathu, and thank you so much for joining me. So, I've been exploring the theme of friendship quite a bit recently, and I think another one of my friends has love bombed me. In the beginning, the friendship is a bit questionable now because we've barely talked in a couple of months, we've barely seen each other. But I remember how the friendship started, and I'm like, no, man, this seems like a classic case of love bombing. So I went and asked Chet, I was like, is there such a thing as love bombing in friendship? And Chet obviously agrees because the same things that men are capable of in romantic relationships, women are also just as capable. Now, it might not have been with malicious intent, but it certainly was that way because now I'm left feeling like, what just happened? Like, what was that? Or what is going on? Like, I am just so confused. And I suppose that's the emotional hangover after having connected with someone within a short space of time, right? So some of the classic examples or characteristics of love bombing include trauma dumping, or like just oversharing, one's trauma or traumatic experiences to foster connection at more quickly, or to foster intimacy more quickly, or like to seem like, yes, we're getting along with this person. And it's often within a short space of time. Now, this definitely happened. And I remember, this friend telling me her life experiences, and I was so sympathetic to that. And some I related because I had similar experiences of my own, right? So I was just like, oh man, we get each other. Although I didn't say that out loud, but I was just really understanding and sympathetic to her situation, which I suppose made me develop an emotional connection with her much quicker than I would any other person I was knowing or getting to know gradually. So there's that. And then the second characteristic is like, texting excessively or calling and whatnot all the time. With us, there wasn't a calling or texting all the time. I'm not one to speak to all the time or call all the time and whatnot, especially not in friendships, because I just get tired. And I do have a few friends that I need to keep tabs with. So calling every day just would not work. It wouldn't be sustainable for me. But what did happen in this specific friendship was that the calls were longer, even video calls, they were definitely longer, and they were more in-depth than, the quantity. So I'd say the quality of those calls was quite excessive, and that's how I explained that one. And then, the compliments being over the top and whatnot. But I remember them saying, oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever had a friend like this or whatever. And they were telling me examples of how their other friends had betrayed them or neglected them and that sort of thing. But I do remember her also saying that her partner does caution her because she does tend to get invested with new people in her life. So I don't know if the compliments then were really legit, or maybe they may have felt like that to her at the time. But I also remember the moments where she would say her partner always cautions her against it. But yeah, there was definitely like a grandiose way of complimenting me. And I know I'm amazing, so that wasn't surprising to me or didn't feel like a red flag, because that's who I am. And disclaimer, I think love bombing, even in a romantic setting, doesn't always alarm me, especially when it's happening in real time, because it makes sense that someone would feel that strongly about me from the get-go, because I truly am amazing, guys. So there's nothing surprising there, And I suppose when I was getting all these compliments, like I didn't have reasons to feel like, no, man, this seemed out of the norm or it was too much. I don't know. I think also words of affirmation do tend to be my love language. So I don't know. It was good to feel that in the meantime. I'm not going to lie, because it was like, yeah, I am very intentional about the kind of friend I am and how I show up in my friendship So this isn't surprising, but that characteristic was definitely there in the beginning, and looked at it as in isolation wouldn't have caused any alarm. But now that I look at it along all these other characteristics or traits of love bombing, then I'm raising eyebrows. But in that time, I had no reason whatsoever to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm being love bombed, And then, like, wanting to spend a lot of time together, that's another, classic trait of love bombing, like wanting to spend time all the time. And now this wasn't the case. And I must also admit that some of those dates had been proposed by me, like the meetups and everything. But I do remember us spending a bit more time in the beginning than we do now, than I did with my other friends who'd been there for a while. I remember us, going to a picnic at the park, whatever. That was really, really lovely. Going on runs together and like, it was definitely a lot of spending time together. And I don't want to say much because I still want to protect their identity, but there was definitely like a lot of spending time together. And I remember one of the things I thought was so cute was she prepared a friendship date coupon, to say, when you needed time for us to spend together, you can just, use one of these coupons whenever you want and I'll be there. And I thought, oh my goodness, that is so cute and romantic, right? And I'm a romantic, especially in my friendships, and I remember thinking, hey, I want to join this running club, and she's already a part of this running club. And I was like, let's renew our membership together, and we could just be, because they do have family plans, that are discounted, and the discount is not even that significant that it would be the motivator for renewing the friendship or the membership. So I was like, let's do it together. I think it's just going to be really cute, as a little family, like, a couple. And I remember her laughing at that. But yeah, and at the time I thought, oh, the coupon idea is so cute and so romantic. And now in hindsight, I'm like really questioning that as well, because we've never done any of those things in the coupon, and I don't even think that's something she remembers anymore, which is why I'm in this haze of confusion. Because what do you mean we were sharing friendship coupons and all of a sudden, like, dead silence, like, hectic. Like, I can't even get you on a phone call type of situation, That's weird. There's a lot of other examples that I can mention, man, to make me feel like, yeah, I really was love bombed. But I think what concerns me then is the fact that there's been no communication whatsoever, no explanation, nothing. It's just like a shift in this, vibe, yeah, friendship, with no communication whatsoever. And that is so confusing, because any attempts to reach out have been met with silence, or like, I don't know. And I mean, it is true that people are busy, right, and they have other commitments, whatever, but I don't think that's new. That's always been the case, and it's never really deterred commitments to seeing each other or even speaking on the phone and that sort of thing. But suddenly those are excuses for why certain things can't happen. You know what I mean? And that's why I've come to the conclusion that, hey, I think you just need to accept that maybe you were photobombed. Not photobombed, but like relationship bombed. And so I think that's a real thing, and obviously we speak against these things in a romantic setup, because it does leave you feeling like, what? You are just filled with so much confusion and hurt and whatnot. But I think I've made peace with it because of other information I've realized later on in the week, last week. And I mean, these are still assumptions, right? It's nothing I've confirmed with her. But I do feel like, okay, maybe we aren't as tight as I thought we were. And the friendship doesn't mean as much to her as it did to me. And so I just need to let it go, and I think I'm there at that stage. I'm done forcing myself into a situation that is one-sided, especially if the other person is just not making as much effort anymore. And I think, I hate to admit this, but I think I am in a phase where I'm literally just cleaning house, If things don't work out for me, I no longer just want to hold on because it feels good to say so and so is my friend, or because I love them and I care. But if they aren't showing up in a way that I feel I am deserving of being shown up for, being supported and all of that, then I've got to let that go, you know. And I know that love bombing does sometimes come from a place of wanting to manipulate someone, but given our history, I don't think there's any reason for her to want to manipulate me. If anything, it could be indicative of her own attachment, issues, insecurities, or even, I don't know, loneliness, because that is a real thing, and I remember part of the reason why I decided, okay, if this girl is going to be my friend, was because of the fact that she didn't have friends. She told me about not having a lot of friends, and she basically did everything with her partner. But that wasn't possible because of circumstances under which she finds herself with her partner, which I can't elaborate on. And the fact that she's at school and whatnot, like, there's just a lot of dynamics, there, right? And all of it made sense, but I also can't ignore the fact that, hey, you could have potentially love bombed me, and whatever the underlying issues are, it does suck to be in this position. It's very confusing and uncomfortable, and unfortunately I do need to work through it by myself, because I can't go back to the same person who's made me feel this way for reassurance and to feel better, which is something that we tend to do, especially in relationships as well. Like, someone hurts you and behaves in a particular way that leaves you vulnerable, and you want to go back to that person for comfort, for them to explain away your feelings and your reality. So I've decided that I'm going to work through this by myself, and I don't have to go back and ask for explanations or trying to understand. Nah, none of that is enough. Like, it's only enough that I know what I'm feeling now, and I've assessed this situation, and I'm not being emotional about it, because I think I've allowed enough time to observe the change in the dynamic, such that it's not something I'm imagining. It definitely is happening, or is something that happened, and it's okay. I just need to make peace with it without having gotten this closure, and I know a lot of times in relationships you say, oh, I just need to talk to this person for closure and whatnot. Sometimes it's not necessary, and I think I've decided that it's not necessary. So I'm just here. Like, I'll see Bona if they do reach out, and then we'll have that conversation. But like, for now, this is how I feel, and based on the analysis that I've just given and the traits that Chet says, umtu who's love bombing you normally exhibits are very much aligned, here. So I'm just like, I think I just went through that, and that's why it feels like I'm in this state of confusion now, or this emotional hangover of having been, excessively connected with someone and then suddenly have that stop. It does leave you confused. It's such a mind fuck, actually. And so I just need to work through that all by myself. But like, I hate how it's also making me cautious about how I then, interact with people. And I remember a friend of mine, Sma, telling me to be cautious. Like, friend, this seems excessive. Be careful. Don't. And I was so hurt by that, because I thought, no, but you're not understanding this other part, which I found so much resonance with. And I suppose that's what that trauma dumping does, because it fosters an emotional connection such that I was so quick to be on her defense, and now it seems, hey, Sma may have been right to be concerned anyway, and that I do maybe have a blind spot when it comes to friends, and I need to be a bit more careful going forward about who I let into my space. And I remember recording an episode about this girl on TikTok who almost scammed me out of my money. I think she was trying to do so, but because I exposed her, she then made means to pay me back. But I think because I'm sharing about my life so publicly, and people feel a sense of closeness, or maybe have ideas about who I am and whatnot, and therefore want to be close, I do need to be careful a bit more. And being guarded isn't something that comes naturally to me. And I don't enjoy it. It's not something I particularly enjoy. But I do see that I might need to exercise it more, because not everyone is worth being in my space like that or knowing me like that, and I do need boundaries, unfortunately. I think we all do. What I was saying in the previous episode about being selfish, I think I really need to do that more. Selfish with my time, my thoughts, sympathy, all of it. Like I really need to reserve that for me first and foremost, and then everyone else who's already in my life, and not so much the new people. I think what I share on here is enough, and what I share on my social media platforms is enough. I don't need to now, develop all of those interactions into a serious relationship. I'm okay. Like, I was thinking at some point, like, it's not like I need friends. It's not like I need friendships or I'm lonely. I do have friends. I do have really good people that I love in my life and who love me back. So there's no need for me to continue adding that. I was like trying to psychoanalyze myself the other time, and I was like, why? It was when the girl on TikTok basically almost stole my money, and I was like, why did I even feel so sympathetic towards that person? Like, why was I so quick to sacrifice my own comfort for someone else that I barely knew? What is that about? Like, am I lonely? Do I not love myself? Like, what is that about? I just really hated it so much. And now I feel like I'm back here again. And it's like, what is this about? Yes, this friendship I'm talking about started long before that. And we've met with the person physically. We've had multiple interactions and so much more has happened with this person than the first one. But I still ask myself the same question, like, am I overcompensating for something? Is this all telling of something I'm not willing to see? I have no idea, but like, I'm done finding myself in this situation because it's really getting old. And imagine crying over, friendships with women, and you're like, no man, I don't want to be crying over anyone. It's not cute. And this isn't to say women aren't worth the tears. I love them, but nah, it's not cute. It's not cute crying over friends. It's not cute crying over people whom you love, and that isn't to say there shouldn't be quarrels or disagreements or misunderstandings. Those should always exist. But when it questions the very foundation of why that relationship exists in the beginning, then there's a problem there. That's when you must be concerned. And I think I am concerned in how I've been moving, and I do need to reevaluate and move differently, because something certainly isn't right. So yeah, that's my story of being love bombed. I don't know if you guys have ever been love bombed. I've been love bombed, even in a romantic relationship. The last boyfriend I had, which lasted 5 months, that was such a traumatic situation, guys. And that was the last time I dated. I can't believe. And it was a classic case of love bombing too, and I think the guy was a narcissist, actually. And I know people use that term very loosely, but trust me, I really think that he was. And so the fact that I escaped that situation, I'm forever grateful to God. And maybe I'll tell you guys about it one day. But yeah, I just couldn't imagine it could happen with friends as well. Like, this wasn't an abusive relationship by any means. And I think it was really good, but it lasted. But I do need to find my self-respect and actually invest all that energy in myself and other friendships in my life that actually build me, that see me, and that sustain me. Yeah, not only Loama paper who just burns so quickly and just isn't possible to sustain. So yeah, let me know if you guys have ever been in a love bombing situation. Like I did say, I am supposed to be reading some ads because I've been approved to do some ads during the podcast, but like, I'm recording this during lunch and I'm sweating as a dog. So I don't have this script, unfortunately, but I am excited to tell you guys about some of the products I'd like for you to check out next time. For now, keep well, enjoy the rest of your day, stay blessed, and all the best with your friendships as well. I hope they are healthy. I hope they are reciprocal. I hope they are loving. And most importantly, I hope they provide reassurance and you never have to question the person's commitment to you. I love you guys. I'll see you at the next episode. Bye. Oh my gosh, I am waiting for this to get to 20 minutes because then it looks better, you know. When it's still saying 19 minutes something, it feels weird. I'm sorry, that's my OCD side coming. Okay, now we're at 20 minutes. I'm officially gonna leave you guys. Love you loads. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.